Now we're going to do a couple examples with real-life application where we're going to have to write a system and solve that very system to answer a question that's posed in this problem here. Now, the problem reads, the Smith and Klein families went out to dinner. The Smith family had 6 hamburgers and 4 drinks, and the Klein family had 9 hamburgers and 7 drinks. The Smith family spent $18 and the Klein family spent $28.50. How much does a drink cost? And we're assuming this is like before tax and tips, so they're easier numbers to work with. They don't have to take too much into account. Well, first off, we need to identify our variables. We have hamburgers, and then we have drinks. We have hamburgers, and again we have drinks. So it looks like those are going to be our 2 variables. We'll have H for hamburgers, and we'll have D for drinks. Those are our two variables here. Well, if we had 6 hamburgers, and then they had 4 drinks, and that was a total of $18, there's our first equation. I bet you can figure out the second one. We have 9 hamburgers, 7 drinks, and that equals $28.50. Alright, now the way I like to solve these problems is by using elimination. You can use substitution, but I feel like it gets a little bit messy sometimes with substitution, so I'm going to go ahead and use elimination here. So for this one, let's find our least common multiple. Between 6 and 9, I know I can multiply 6 by 3 and 9 by 2 to get 18. So why don't we use that? We'll multiply this 6 here by 3, multiply everything in the numerator by 3, and everything, not the numerator, so the first equation, and everything in the second one we'll multiply by a negative 2 because we got to change the sign, remember. So let's write down our new equation. So here's our new system, right there in green. We have 18h plus 12d equals 54, and negative 18h minus 14d equals negative 57. All the signs have changed in that last one because we multiplied by a negative 2. And when we add these two together, why don't I change color here so we can see this a little better. My h's cancel. I'm left with negative 2d equals negative 3. All right. Well, when I divide by negative 2, I'm left with, well, negative 3 divided by negative 2 is just 3 over 2, which is 150. So a drink costs $1.50. And I'll write it like this because I know we're talking about cost right now. We're not just talking about a number, we're talking about an actual dollar amount. How would I find out how much a hamburger costs if a drink costs $1.50? I could plug it back in, exactly. This is like Blue's Clues. You answer the question and I say, yes, that's correct. Okay, so I plug in 150 for D into that first equation, so I'm going to have 6h plus 4 times $1.50 equals 18. So let's solve this equation. I have 6h plus, we get 6 equals 18. Subtract 6, I get 6h equals 12. So h equals 2. So my hamburger costs $2, my drink costs $1.50. So what we have would be $1.50 and $2. One thing to think about when you're doing these types of problems is, does your answer make sense? Could you buy a drink for $1.50? Could you buy a hamburger for $2? Yeah, you could do that. A place like Wendy's or whatever. But keep in mind, like if I get like a drink costs like $15 or $125, well, that's going to be an issue. We know that we did something wrong. So make sure that your answer actually makes sense.